from the politics. What is your sense, having covered this so closely, about where this goes from here? I mean, there's a lot of talk of Donald Trump being effectively booted out of New York City as a real estate developer, 40 Wall Street, Trump Tower, the properties up in Westchester that he has. Is that realistic, that he could be stripped of his ability to do business in the city, in the state?
Yeah, I mean, that's the big question today. Some lawyers have called this sort of a corporate death penalty, that the judge has ordered these LLCs that control these properties to be shut down and then disgorged of their assets. But these are not just his New York entities. DJT Holdings also controls most of his golf courses around the country and around the world. There's one entity in there that starts with a 401. That's the entity that owns his Chicago tower. So that's a big question. If you dissolve these entities and disgorge them of their assets, that's the show. That's the whole thing. So he's going to fight this until the end. I'm sure it'll go up to New York State's highest court and probably back down a couple of times. But this is, if it's as simple as what the judge states here and it holds, it is a very serious few years that he's got ahead of him here that could end it all.
Tom, the Trump adult sons, Don Jr. and Eric, involved in this as well. Eric put out a statement yesterday attacking the judge, of course, and saying he values Mar-a-Lago, Eric Trump does, at $1 billion. Yeah. That's the number he put on it. So we'll leave that to the realtors down there in Palm Beach to assess that. But what is your sense of what comes next? Obviously, Donald Trump and his team, like all these trials, are going to try to delay, kick the can down the road a little bit. What does it look like when the bench trial starts next week, if it does, in fact?
Sure. So as you said, bench trial, right? So not a jury trial. And I think the key thing that still needs to be decided here are a couple of issues. First off, the judge did not decide on the issues and will wait for the bench trial to determine whether or not the Trump Organization falsified business documents. Now, we know for the Manhattan DA's case, they were convicted of doing exactly that. But this particular suit goes beyond it. Of course, there's no criminal penalties, as Chuck pointed out, but that could also factor into what happens here from a civil suit perspective. And then, of course, this disgorgement, the $250 million that the New York Attorney General is seeking. What happens with that? How much of that is actually imposed? And what does that ultimately mean? I think that's the big question mark for the Trump Organization. To Russ's point, what that ultimately means for Donald Trump and his assets and his personal wealth going into this election and going on for the rest of his life and for the Trump family. So I think as difficult as this ruling was for them yesterday, the real danger, the disgorgement, the fact that the money and the assets could really be taken away from them, that real danger lurks right around the corner.
You know, it's interesting. Voters all have different ways and different things that get to them. And I personally think Letitia James was onto something when she did this. I know a lot of business owners who are Trump supporters but are slowly going, is it too much? They pay their taxes. They play by the rules. They don't lie about the size of their hardware stores or their shops or their homes. And reading this could be more insulting than some of the other things that could be just, you know what, they're too busy for it. They're too focused on their own businesses.
Like stealing nuclear secrets. Maybe like, I don't get that, but he did overvalue.
No, I'm not saying they don't get it at all. I'm just saying it's not personal. This is personal. This is what Trump has. This has been his game. Exaggerating to rip people off. And most American voters are good people who play by the rules and love this country. Chuck, I'm curious, in terms of all the legal challenges facing Donald Trump, what are we looking at next down the line?
Well, if you want to talk about all of the legal challenges, Mika, we're going to need a couple more hours this morning. I mean, there are 4 pending indictments. There are civil cases in New York and elsewhere. And who knows what tomorrow will bring for the Trump team. You know, what was interesting to me in terms of valuations, and I know that doesn't sound like something that would go together, interesting in valuations, but if you read the opinion, in one instance, the judge cited the fact that Mr. Trump had overvalued his Mar-a-Lago property, if you compare it to what the county assessor thought it was worth, by 2,300%. I mean, that is not a rounding error. And so this is not a mistake. This is not inadvertence. This is not the fact that they didn't pay attention to detail. It's that they committed an egregious fraud on the banks. And maybe the banks aren't sympathetic victims, but as Tom Winter pointed out earlier, they have investors. And those investors are entitled to, you know, their banks being given full and fair and free information. And that didn't happen. And so lots of legal challenges for Mr. Trump. The most significant are the ones that could put him in jail. The 2 federal indictments, the 2 state indictments, one in Georgia and one in New York. If you're thinking about worst case scenarios, if you're lying awake at night and staring at the ceiling, it's the pending criminal cases. But from a business risk perspective, the fact that they could lose the right to do business in New York, that they could lose their business certificates, that they might have to disgorge profits, is extraordinarily significant for this company. As the judge pointed out, a company built on lies and fantasy in many ways.
Wow. Former U.S. Attorney Chuck Rosenberg and NBC's Tom Winter, thank you very much. And New York Times reporter Russ Buettner, thank you all very much for your reporting and insight this morning.